Okay. And then I just wanted to start with a quick poll to see if anybody here has participated in an Erasmus Plus project before. So I can launch that now. So that should be coming up for you. Okay, so got about 40% of people have participated in an Erasmus Plus project, and 60% have not. So a good mix in the room. So hopefully Gemma and Dara, that gives you kind of a sense of who we got with us today. So that's it for me. So I'm going to hand it over to Dara to get us started with Erasmus Plus.
Yeah, thanks. Sorry, excuse me. Thanks, Emily. Well, first, my name's Dara McIntyre. I work in Lurgus, the Irish National Agency. I work in the school sector on Erasmus Plus. I'll just share my screen now, and yeah, no, there's a good number of you there that have experience. So, as Emily said, I'm just going to be giving a bit of an overview of Erasmus Plus. Hang on. Here we go. Slideshow from the beginning. Now, can everyone see that? Okay, yeah.
Yep, perfect.
Perfect, thanks. Yeah, no, as I seen from the poll there, obviously there's about 40% view. So I don't know if that was a while ago you were involved with Erasmus Plus or more recently, and some of this you may obviously already know, and if not, I will be highlighting some key dates for upcoming deadlines that may be of interest to you. So yeah, we'll just kick things off. So the Erasmus Plus project, it's one of the European Commission's flagship project. You can see there's a budget of 26.2 billion. The new program began in 2021 and it's running until 2027. So that's a massive budget. Next year for schools in Lurgus, we have a huge budget, about 5 million or something, that we kind of desperate to get rid of. So we want to get as many newcomers in as possible, because the last thing we want to do is be sending money back to the Commission. What I'll be talking about today is more kind of short-term mobility projects, which gets about 70% of that budget. You can see there, they're the mobility projects. So for the new program, the new Erasmus program, the key priorities of the program are inclusion and diversity, to be more green, more sustainable, digital, improve ICT competencies for teachers and learners across Europe, and as well as active participation. So enhancing participation in a democratic life and civic engagement, really promoting a shared sense of European identity and heritage. What is Erasmus Plus? Well, Erasmus Plus is the European Union program for education, training, youth and sport. The Erasmus Plus, the predecessor came to its end in 2020, so some of you may be involved in that. And this is a successor program commenced not last year, 2020. Oh, we're still 2022, Jesus. And will run to 2027. It aims to be more inclusive, accessible and sustainable. So I'll go through the differences between the old program and the new program. They're both called Erasmus Plus, which can be a little unhelpful, but it's all the same kind of thing. So Erasmus Plus is for, and Lurgus is, we look after adult education, vocational education and training, youth, schools, and from next year we'll also be looking at after sport. Higher education is the Higher Education Authority, and that'll be for universities and whatnot, doing with students doing semesters abroad, which is a different kind of program to what we have. So in terms of if you were to get involved with Erasmus Plus, what countries could you go to? Well, any EU member state, as well as some non-EU program countries. There's 6 of them there. The UK are no longer involved in Erasmus Plus for obvious reasons. They were previously, which is it's a bit disappointing for everyone, but that's the what's going on anyway. So eligible organizations. So for school education, it's quite straightforward. Any school registered with a school roll number, providing general education at pre-primary, primary, or secondary level. Local or regional public authorities, so education centres can also get involved. If you're unsure if you're eligible or not, you can refer to our website, or you can send myself an email, and we can figure it out. But usually it's quite straightforward for school education. So for Erasmus Plus, what activities can be organised? What can you take part in as a school? So for staff, you could job shadow in any of those countries mentioned. You can go on a teaching assignment for up to a year. You can take part in courses and training. If you want to, for pupils, you can bring a group mobility of school pupils abroad, or you can go on short-term learning mobility of pupils, as well as long-term, which can run from a minimum of 30 days to a maximum of a year. In addition to physical mobility, all pupil mobility activities can be blended with virtual activities. This was something kind of introduced because obviously with this program kicking off in 2021, it was in the middle of the pandemic. So with the restrictions, we're obviously not allowed to travel. So we would encourage all mobilities, which trips away, to be in person now. There's a lot more benefit to it. And you must know as well that applying for funding to send staff and learners abroad, like you'll find a host school in Europe, that doesn't mean a reciprocal school exchange. You can host a school to visit you if you want, but it doesn't mean if you sign up and apply to visit a school that you must host them. And the other activities which are new to this program, you can invite an expert on certain areas, certain fields, or you can host teachers in training. This probably just be more for hosting student teachers, and preparatory visits as well. These are short visits before you go on a trip away to your partner school, just get a lay of the land. So yeah, just a bit more. So for on the invited experts, this can be trainers, teachers, policy experts, or other qualified professionals from abroad who can help improve the teaching, training, and learning at receiving organizations. So an example of this would have been a project last year who the main objective of the project was to increase mindfulness, awareness of mindfulness in the school. So a yoga trainer was invited from a European country and did yoga classes with teachers at the school, and these classes, what the teachers learned from this yoga expert, was passed on to the student in PE and things like that. You can host teachers and educators in training. Yet, as I said, traineeship teachers, spending a bit of time abroad, and the prep visits. So you can set up a prep visit before your trip takes place, and this is a supporting arrangement for staff and learners. It aims to improve inclusiveness, scope, and quality of mobility activities. Starting with a new partner, better prepare for participants with fewer opportunities as well. As I said, it's just to kind of visit that school, get lay of the land, see if you can actually develop a working relationship with that school, because you may go visit a school and think, actually, no, this isn't going to work. And before you make, because bringing students or even sending teachers abroad is a massive commitment. So you want to make sure reduce as much risk as possible. So a mobility project, we believe it consists of the 4 stages: planning, where you define the learning outcomes; the formats, the development of work program, and you schedule activities; the prep, these are practical arrangements; selection of participants; setup of agreements for partners and participants; linguistic, intercultural learning, and task-related preparation of participants before departure; the implementation, this is your trip abroad; and follow-up activities, including the evaluation of activities, as well as dissemination and use of project outcomes. So for these projects that we're talking about today, they're short-term projects. They range from 6 to 18 months. So if you are going on a trip, on a mobility is what the word we use, they can last from a week, 2 weeks, but the project must be a minimum of 6 months. So this 6 months would then include the planning, the prep, the implementation, and the follow-up. And the follow-up would be coming back if two teachers went to take part in a course to improve ICT competencies. They would come back then and share what they learned with teachers that didn't have the opportunity or that didn't go on the course. Maximum number of mobilities per application is 30. So in this sense, mobilities is 30 people. You can send 30 teachers can go on courses and training, or 30 students can be taken on a mobility as well as 30 students can be taken on the trip as well. And the preparatory visits and participation of company persons don't count towards this limit. So if you were bringing 30 students and you wanted like 4 company persons, that's not included in the overall 30. Organizations that receive a grant for short-term project under first round applications may not apply for the second round of the same call for proposals within any period of any 5 consecutive call years. So basically, each year we have 2 deadlines for applications. The next one, we just had one there in October. The next one will be in February, and then following that we'll have one in October. So if you were to apply under the February deadline and receive funding, you would not be able to then apply in the October deadline. And organizations may receive a maximum of 3 grants. So that's 3 grants over the period of 5 years. So just a few more technical things here. The application form for school education is K122. At least one host and partner organization needs to be identified in the application form. That's a host school in a European country. Individual participants don't have to be named at the time of applying. An organization ID is needed at the time to apply. There's a link there that can help you get this number. It's simple enough. Just follow the steps. And the application deadline, as I said, is 23rd of February at 11 a.m. Yeah, and where to find partners, there's eTwinning is a good website for this, and there's a School Education Gateway. It's a good platform for finding courses or training that may be suited to you as well. For inspiration, we have Gemma here today, who will of course be our main inspiration, but there's the Erasmus Plus project results platform. You can click onto that link. All these slides will be shared, so you can click into the links as well. And this is a good place to kind of get inspiration and ideas as well for how you might shape a project, and by looking at projects that have taken place in the past. Yeah, there's descriptions of projects there. The Lurgus website, we have blogs from schools who've taken place, who've gone on trips in the past and projects in the past. So the Lurgus website is a good platform for that also. So if you wanted to see the benefits of the mobility projects, each year the European Commission holds the EIA Awards, the European Innovative Teaching Awards. These are we had a school from a primary school and a secondary school who were our winners this year. It's chosen from, we had an open call this year for school supply, and was the projects who kind of stood out a little, I suppose. All the projects are good, but these 2 were particularly good. And there's videos on our YouTube channel there that you can click into. They're short 3-minute videos, and it gives you a real sense of projects and the benefits of them. Just some information to get in touch. The Lurgus info email, I can put in my email address into the chat as well if you want to get in touch with me directly, and I can answer any questions you have. So that's it from the slides. If there's any questions, will we go to Gemma? Or there's one question in the chat there.
No, that was just me telling people to put their questions into the chat.
Grand.
But yeah, so we can head over to Gemma now, and then we'll have the question and answers session. But if people have something in the meantime, they can put it in the chat. We can come to it at that point.
Grand. Thanks, Emily.
Thanks, Tara. All right, over to you, Gemma.
Okay, can you see that properly?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, so okay. Hi everyone. It's very nice to join you today, and thank you for invitation to speak about our Erasmus Plus experiences. So as Dara and Emily both said, I'm an EPAS teacher myself. I teach in Manor House School, which is an all-girls secondary school in Dublin, in Raheny. And we've about 700 students, and we've been involved in the EPAS program since 2019. But our Erasmus Plus experience goes back a year further than that. So since 2018, we've completed 4 Erasmus Plus mobility projects, and they're all within the same overall initiative, which is our CLIL initiative. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about that, if I can get it to work here. Yeah, okay. So CLIL, I'm a language teacher. I'm a French and German teacher, and CLIL is a teaching approach or method that I've been interested in for several years now, and it stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. So it's an approach where you're learning content through an additional language, so you're thus teaching both the subject and the language at the same time. And this approach is widespread in continental Europe, and it's quite common in schools in lots of the countries that participate in Erasmus Plus to have bilingual sections in schools, so where several subjects would be taught through additional languages. And this was something that we were interested in for various different reasons. And we started looking at how we might learn more about it with a view to introducing it in our own school. So we looked at the job shadowing. So Dara mentioned the various different ways that you can be involved, and job shadowing is what we have done up until this point. So we recognise the potential for introducing it in the school, and we already had an established partnership. So we didn't need to go through any of those platforms, although I have used eTwinning for other things and it's been fantastic. So we had a partnership with Lycée Richelieu, which is in Rueil-Malmaison, just outside Paris, for our students doing an exchange. So that wasn't being organised through Erasmus Plus, but separately, because the school that we had this link with has a bilingual section, it has an international section, so it has some subjects that are taught to certain students through German and other students through English. So we wanted to organise a staff mobility. So our first staff mobility was in January 2018. So myself and 2 of my colleagues went for a week to job shadow in the school. So as I said already, I'm a French teacher, but my colleague Warren is a history and geography teacher, and Laurie is the deputy principal and also a history teacher. So I wanted to bring teachers from the content side, because the subjects that are taught through English in the school are history and geography. So I wanted people to come who actually knew that background as well, so that we were looking at it from the content and language point of view together. So we spent a week job shadowing in the lycée. We observed a wide range of classes, so lots of the CLIL classes, but also we observed other classes like English classes, history and geography classes taught through French, French classes, and then we had meetings with various faculty members. So we met with French teachers, English teachers, history and geography teachers, members of management. We really got a great opportunity to ask questions about, you know, the ins and outs of how this works. You know, there's a lot you can obviously read, and with any method or anything that you're interested in introducing in your school, there's a lot you can read about, but it's great to go to a school where it's working and actually talk to the staff members there and see, you know, what are the difficulties from a timetabling point of view, or, you know, what are the great advantages of it, and that. And, you know, it was a super experience, and it was a great success from everyone's point of view. And I know Dara mentioned the different sections, you know, the different steps, I should say, the planning and the prep and the implementation and follow-up. You know, a lot of that, the planning and the prep, we did some of us, the initial planning ourselves. And then obviously there's a big, when you apply for Erasmus Plus, there is a lot of paperwork involved. So rather than anyone being kind of daunted by that or being put off by it, I just want to say that Lergas are so helpful with filling out the paperwork, because you can get in contact and basically say in your words what you're trying to do, and then they'll help you. And it was Deirdre that helped me a lot with our projects at the beginning, how to put it into the language that's needed to get it across on the paper so that it will cross the line as in terms of getting the funding. So that is a great contact to have. So if you are interested, there are some sessions, and maybe Darren, you might mention them as later on, but I know there are help sessions beforehand that people can go to, and you can make contact. But definitely, if you've an interest in any area of Erasmus, this is just my experience of it, but I know from other teachers, and I've met lots of people who've been involved in it, they all say the same, that like that support from Lergas is invaluable, because they will help you get through it. And then afterwards, when you're doing the follow-up and you have to do the paperwork at the end of it, it's also a great point of contact to make sure that you're actually filling things in the way they're supposed to be filled in. So then after we did our first mobility, as I said, it was a super success. So we came back to the school, and as a direct result, we established our first program. So just you can see it at the top, I've got the hashtag Clil en Français. That's just if any of you were interested in looking at it on our school Twitter account, and I'll share that at the end. Since the beginning, I've always used that hashtag for the project. So you'll be able to see things from our mobility trips, but also then the aftermath in school and what we've got with it. So, you know, it might be interesting. So yeah, as a result, we started our program. So it was for transition years starting in September 2018, and it was for students who were already learning French. So they were offered this additional program for extra hours to go to French. So we started off with an extra, we were on 40-minute classes at the time. So we had an extra 2 classes a week for them, and they were doing a project because we had started with Histoire Géo, and that's what we stuck with there. And we collaborated all throughout that first year with our partner school in France in terms of getting resources and ideas and things like that. But in the years in between, it's gone from strength to strength. So in 2019, we won the European language label for the program. And then we were able to join the EPAS program, because I saw it from my point of view, and I'm sure like you probably all have different reasons for joining EPAS, but for me, I felt that it was a really good fit with what we're doing here, because, you know, we're talking about Europe, we're talking about the EU in the EPAS program. Why not use one of the other official languages? And I mean, the wealth of resources that are there, because everything is produced for all of the countries, because all of the different countries have this EPAS program. So there are brilliant things available quite easily, you know, to get involved in it. So at this stage now, we have our class this year have, as well as their 2 hours of French, they have the program for CLIL. They have an extra kind of 3 to 4 hours per week, depending, because obviously TYs have a funny timetable. Sometimes they have a lot of other things going on. So basically, they've 20% of their classes per week are in French. So it's quite similar to what you would have in some of the bilingual sections. And we're moving forward with that. We're actually working with the French embassy now to apply for the label, the France Education, which is the label, the quality label that the French embassy, or that the French Department of Education offer to schools around the world who offer quality bilingual education in French to a group of students who want to do it. And we've been working on, our topics have gone lots more history and geography. Obviously, the EPAS program itself is just huge in terms of what we can do with it. So that brings us into politics as well. And then we've gone from there into sustainable development areas. So we have we've done a module on fair trade, and we'll be working on a module after Christmas on sustainable fashion as well. And a lot of it, it's growing all the time. And then we're actually using the e-twinning with a couple of schools. We're setting up links where our students will be able to collaborate online with the students through French on one of these shared projects, because as I said, CLIL is more commonly used in other countries. So yeah, so then after that, because, you know, with great excitement from I was very optimistic about it beforehand because I had done a lot of research into it, but from my colleagues as well, everyone was just blown away by what a difference it made and how these kids could converse. They could just so easily talk about difficult topics and things, and so comfortably speak a second language purely because they were doing these extra classes. So it came back to the school and, you know, kind of spread among staff, so much so that I applied for 3 separate mobilities then after that. So the 3 of us that were originally involved stayed involved along the way, but then there was one mobility where none of us went on it. We just kind of sent another group of teachers representing different areas of the school. And then we had other ones where it was some of those teachers and additional teachers went. So we've had 11 different teachers from those 3 extra mobilities that have gone over the years as well. And, you know, it went on pause a little bit with COVID, but we will be coming back hopefully with it. So it just, you know, it's been a great experience for our staff members as well. And it has varied the amount of days. That first project was a week long, but we've had projects where teachers were going for 3 days or 2 days to the school as well. So it can work to kind of suit your timetable as well. It's all very flexible. So then, yeah, our future Erasmus Plus plan. So, you know, we did with that starting point, and I do think it, like, for us, certainly it was good advice, and it might work the same for anyone who's interested. If you're starting with something small as your first idea with it, you know, because there is a lot involved. And if you have a small project and a small idea, then it gives you a taste for it and you can develop it on. And that's what we have done. And this year, as Dara mentioned, we won the European Innovative Teaching Award. So that YouTube clip, Dara, you put a link in your slide to it as well. If you want to watch, that's about 3 minutes, just in our school and talking, like there's some of our pupils who've been involved, past pupils, and then my colleagues who went on that initial trip are on the video as well. But as a result of that award, then I was invited to a networking event in Brussels a few weeks ago where I got to meet other winners of the award from countries around Europe. So now we've all sorts of new ideas of what we're going to do with that, including, you know, talking to people who've done fantastic training courses. And I know the other school, Dara, that you mentioned in Cork, I know that they've done a lot of fantastic training courses. So that's something that could really suit as well. And then we're looking with our CLIL group, we're going to look into the first student mobility, where we'll go and do some sort of a immersive language experience for them in the future. And I'm also very interested. I think that the idea of adding in the preparatory visits is a brilliant new step, because as you said, Dara, it can be quite, you know, it's immense, and it's a huge responsibility to go abroad, or to send your colleagues abroad, or to send your students abroad. So that idea of being able to suss it out first sounds really, really practical. So yeah, so that's pretty much us so far. I've left my details there, so this will be shared afterwards. I should have said as well, I work, as well as teaching in Manor House, I work for PPLI, Post Primary Languages Ireland. That's one thing that has come from this Erasmus work as well, that I now am involved in designing CLIL resources and training teachers around the country. So if any of you are interested in the CLIL side of what I was talking about today, there's some stuff there that you could look at too, but you're very welcome to contact me by email or via Twitter as well. And yeah, that's it.
That's great. Thank you so much, Gemma. I think that your presentation does a really good job of kind of demonstrating the scope of opportunities that there are within the Erasmus Plus program. So everything from kind of like the network building that you were able to do, and kind of the exchange of best practice with your colleagues over on the mainland, and then also just being able to kind of take that learning and create like sustainable resources and adding that to kind of like your classroom toolkit. So it's great just to kind of see all the things that are out there and how you've kind of now already have kind of plans for like next steps for Erasmus Plus, and kind of constantly incorporating that in your plans for the years ahead. So I just want to open up the floor then. Does anybody have any questions for Dara, maybe from kind of like the practical sort of like next steps point of view, or any questions for Gemma, kind of from teacher's perspective?
I will just say thanks for mentioning that, actually, Gemma. I should have said it myself, that in the lead up to the deadline in February, we will be holding an application workshop. Because yeah, when you first look at the application, it can be quite overwhelming. So we will be having that in January. I can send on, well, I can get that out, the link to that, so where you can register, I can send that out to you. And yeah, in lead up to that deadline as well, as Gemma mentioned, like we're here to help anybody, and we obviously can't tell you what to write, but we can guide you in the right direction. And because like it's a massive budget, €5 million that we want to get rid of. So just question there, when is the application actually open? So I don't have the exact date, but it will be January. It's usually January. It's usually about 6 weeks before the actual deadline that the application goes up. And you can start, you'll have a decent bit of time there to kind of look at it, get a feel of it, like shape your project and start filling it in. Yeah, you can work on it over a number of weeks.
And are there other steps that people could take now and like before the application is actually open, things that they should sort of be thinking about?
Yeah, as I said, like first of all, there was a link out to it in the slides to get an organization ID number, because you won't be able to complete an application without that. So it's important to get that and just get it out of the way. And in terms of your own application, one of the big questions asked on it is you'll have a number of objectives. We'll ask you, what are the needs and challenges of your own school? So say you wanted your you want your school to be more sustainable, you just need to relate that back to your own school and how this can improve your school, and yeah, how the Erasmus Plus will benefit the school as a whole, really, so yeah, just probably like a team or something that's relevant to your school is a good place to start.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions, or for the people that have been involved in Erasmus Plus projects before, does anybody kind of want to share a bit about their own experience or tips that they have for newcomers? I gather it's been a long day.
Yeah.
Can I just say, Dara, they still have to put the European Development Plan in as well for the school, don't they? Is that part of it, or has that changed for this one?
Yeah, it's changed for this one. If you're applying to get accredited, you would need your kind of European Erasmus plan, which is kind of what it's called now. And yeah, I mentioned that for the short-term projects, you can only apply for 3. So we recommend, like, you would start with a short-term project, maybe do a staff mobility first for a couple of days, job shadow, courses and training, and then if you want to move on to maybe bringing pupils abroad, and so that would be kind of 2 projects, and then you can look at getting accredited, which is it kind of gives you the gold seal of approval, where you can then apply for as many projects as you want over the 6-year period, and 5-year period or whatever will be left now, and it makes the application process a lot easier as well.
I just mention it because from a point of view of EPAS, like that is already, in terms of a European development plan, or like if you were looking forward with your plan, how you can embed the EPAS program even more into the school, as a kind of fundamental part of what happens during TY or in the school, a real highlight, then there's links to that anyway. So that's something else people could be looking at in advance of, what's the reasoning in relation to EPAS. And, there are ways that we're connected as EPAS teachers that we can get links to EPAS teachers abroad as well. And I know that there's an eTwinning group for EPAS teachers as well. So there could be really good links to visit, say if you wanted to get started with it, a job shadowing mobility for a couple of teachers who've been involved in EPAS in your school, to go to a school in some other country where they have the EPAS program and just talk to them and see how it's run there, could be a great first step.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like with EPAS and eTwinning, if you've involved in projects with either, it definitely strengthens your application as well going into Erasmus Plus, and you can develop links and partnerships with schools already, and this will all makes it all easier, and yeah, as I said, strengthens your Erasmus Plus application.
Great. Anybody else have any questions?
Hi there, I come in with a question. So we've never done Erasmus Plus. We are an EPAS school. We're open to any suggestions. So I have noted the 4 headings: inclusion, diversity, green, digital, and active participation. Do we at the moment just kind of brainstorm what we think we would be interested in and research that, and then watch out for the Lergus guidelines in January and stuff like that? Is that where we should be at now, or any suggestions would be welcome?
Yeah, no, like the 4 priorities, like they are the priorities, but like it can be on pretty much anything, which is like, because with, you can see with Gemma, she's done work on languages as well, like improving languages.
Yeah.
Like any area you feel which would your school could improve or would benefit your school, you know. These key themes can be like it can, outdoor learning can be, and I was thinking from our most recent deadline, there was a few applications on like improving outdoor learning. You know, a whole range of things. You know, it doesn't have to be on those 4 key priorities. And but
Okay.
yeah, like that would be the place to kind of start thinking about anyway. You know, and then when the application comes online, you can look at the application and then see how you kind of shape that into a project. And I did share the link to the European Erasmus Plus results platform, so you can actually take a look at projects that have taken place in the past, and that might give you a few ideas as well, you know. Yeah, so I suppose that would be best place.
Thank you. Perfect.
Thanks, Cora.
I see there's a comment there, someone saying that they recommend a small team to work on it together. I absolutely second that idea, because, you know, it's been invaluable having colleagues to work with on it, just in terms of splitting out the different things and also getting various perspectives on staff about what to do. It is, you know, there's a fair bit of paperwork involved. So if you have a couple of people who can take different aspects of it, that can definitely make it easier to write for the first time.
Yeah, that was me that said that. Sorry if you can't see me, the lights have gone off in my classroom. So it's a bit dark in here.
No worries.
But yeah, because when I first started out, the mistake I made was I sort of went solo with it. And I applied for a huge project which was approved. But then everyone who had said that they were interested, when it came down to it, actually, you know, didn't want to be going on the different mobilities. So my advice would be to start small.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, get a small team behind you who are interested. Make sure that management is behind it and that they really know what's involved. But, you know, if you're going to be taking time off during the school year and that. And, you know, that way, but I'd highly recommend it. It's amazing. We've been to all over Europe, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, France. We've been to Guadeloupe, and we're going to the Reunion Island in February with a group of students.
Wow, yeah.
So it's fabulous opportunities.
Yeah, no, and yeah, I'd say like that's a really good recommendation to have a small team, as well as just for contingency issues as well, like because like, you know, working in schools, like people come and go, and so it's definitely good to have that group there to carry it on when someone leaves.
And having the management on board as well is really, as you said, is really, really important. Because there are things from their point of view. Now, a lot of the courses and things, as I understand, are offered when schools wouldn't all be on, you know, so teachers might be taking time, but that could be considered their CPD if they were doing courses. And then obviously, you know, when there's issues, if you're doing one where you're bringing a group of students with you, then that makes a difference to, you know, when you can go, because obviously you're supervising a group of students with you. So all of those things need management approval too. So that's very important to have from the outset. Doing it small as well means that you have, like I said, I had a deputy principal and a teacher with me who then went back and talked to lots of other people. So when it came to the next one, other people wanted to do it. Whereas if I had tried to sell it in the first place to everyone, it might not have worked the same way. So it does, by spreading it out and then having a couple of new people every time you do it, then they'll talk to other people, and you will have people saying to you then hopefully, oh, I'd quite like to get involved and I have this idea, and then other people bring their own ideas and their own maybe contacts as well around Europe, or they see different things advertised different places for courses, or sometimes you have schools that I know certainly there's Facebook groups for language teachers, that there are always teachers from schools in different countries in Europe saying, we have funding, is there anyone who'd be interested in linking up with us and that. So I'm sure there's the same with teacher networks for different subject areas too.
Yes, I just seen that comment there from Kathy Ann about ePass and eTwinning, and yeah, that is true. And I know anyone who has any familiarity with these European platforms know they can be quite temperamental, and they're building the kind of new platform for that. So it is, there's a few teething problems at the moment, but yeah, if anyone is interested in getting involved in eTwinning as well, I can get you in touch with my colleague John, who looks after eTwinning here in Lurgus. He can help you in that sense.
Great. We might just see if anybody has any last minute questions before we wrap it up.
Can I interrupt again? Sorry.
Yeah.
Priscilla, you sound as if you've had a great old time with this thing. I'm just wondering, could you name drop even some of the things that some of the projects you have done, just to kind of, I'm an absolute newbie, so just to have an idea as to what's involved would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. The first one we started with was actually just a teacher one, and it was when the new junior cert was coming out, and it was to give the teachers the opportunity to go on training courses, so some CPD, so that they could train up for the new junior cert and bring back, you know, more active methodologies into the classroom. And then I started into one with students. So we were doing a project based on the notion of food on Europe's tables. And we looked at it from different perspectives. So from a science perspective, from an English perspective, from a language perspective, music, art. And there were 6 countries involved in that. So that one was a very interesting one. So each time we got to bring 6 students to all the different countries, and they would have a particular topic for their mobility, and they'd look at the notion of food in Europe through that lens, that was very successful. Now I have to say that one was very enjoyable. The one in Guadeloupe we did was actually for the students to create resources that could be used to teach through English, French, and Spanish, which were the 3 languages that both our schools have. And so the students were going to create resources that could be used in the classroom. So that one just finished this year. And the one with Reunion Island, that was actually just, they contacted me to see could they come across and visit us. And then once we got talking, you know, I decided that I'd bring a small group back. So we're looking at applying for an Erasmus project next year. So
thanks so much. It's fantastic.
No problem. I can put my email address in, and if you have any questions, you can contact me. It's not a problem.
Can I go with you to Reunion? Sounds nice.
Did you get your funding? Yes, no problem. Hop along.
And if anybody does have any projects that they want to share or disseminate, then you can pop me an email and I can include them in the follow-up that everybody will get, just so you can have some inspiration and kind of think about things that you might like to bring into your own classroom. Here's my email.
Yeah, I'll just pop my email in there too.
Great. Okay. Thanks, Priscilla. So I guess, yeah, in terms of kind of next steps for people, it sounds like kind of the guidance would be to sort of get together with your colleagues, have a chat about some kind of like gaps that you might like to address, or some learning that you might like to get from other kind of colleagues in Europe, come up with sort of a project idea, and then maybe attend one of Largus's webinars to kind of get the gist on how you kind of actually do the application and take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. We will also be holding an info session, but that will be more or less the same as kind of what's happened today. So, but feel free. That will be in January also. So, but feel free to come along to that as well if you have any more questions or unsure about anything.
Yeah, and I'll include that in the follow-up as well, because it might be good to have kind of a refresher sort of closer to the application time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll have forgotten everything by the time we come back
Yeah,
after Christmas.
exactly. Great. Okay, well, I don't know, Gemma, is there anything else that you want to add, or?
No, just go for it if you're interested. It's well worth it, and really it's only limited by your own imaginations with what the project can be. Your own context in your school and how it can go with what's already going on, or it can expand something.
Great, thank you for words of encouragement. When's the next application deadline for the Erasmus accredited school?
That won't be till next October. Yeah, we just had one pass 2 weeks ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago. So the next one won't be till October next year.
Okay, thanks for that, Dara. Okay, so a big thank you to Gemma and to Dara. I hope you guys got something out of this info session today. As I said, we'll be sending out a follow-up email with the recording and the slides, so you can kind of go away and digest this all in your own time, and then maybe come back to us, to Dara, with some kind of project ideas or kind of help with next steps and an application. So yeah, that's it from us. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Emily, for setting this up.